All right, hello. I would like to just quickly go through and show you what you need to be doing and how to do a successful paper 2 for IB history. This is going to be for both HL and SL students, so it does not matter what level you're enrolled in. If you're in IB history, you're going to be doing a paper 2. This is going to show you how to be successful on paper 2. Now, I'm not going to be talking about and explaining what paper 2 is right through here. I'm just going to be showing you how to be successful on this paper. Now, this doc that I'm going to be going over right now, I will link down below so you have access to it. You can also find this on the class website. So the first thing we're going to do is given you a sample question right here. To what extent do you agree that social division was the main condition leading to the emergence of authoritarian rule in 2 states, each from a different region? So in this class, you're going to be looking at 2 different states, each from a different region. So that last part of the question, at least when you're doing it in my class, just know the 2 leaders we've talked about are going to be from 2 different states in a different region. You're going to be fine. So don't worry when you see, oh, what's happening here with 2 different regions, 2 different states. You're going to be totally fine. Now, the first thing you need to do, as you can see right here, is you need to look at the question and figure out what are they asking and then what is the command term. So if we go back up at this question, okay, what are they asking? They're asking us, to what extent do you agree? Okay, so they're giving us, they're wanting to know our opinion. Do you agree with this? Yes or no? And what are we trying to agree on? That social division was the main condition that led to the emergence of authoritarian rule in these 2 different states, okay? It's not saying, was it a factor? It is saying, was it the main condition? Okay, so it's important that we understand stuff like that. Now, if you look right here, you can see the command terms, okay? So right through here, you need to find your command term. So analyze, okay? Are we analyzing anything here? It doesn't say to analyze. No, it'll say that right through here, okay? We're going to see this command term right here, which is to what extent. Okay, so when we're answering a to what extent question, we need to consider the merits or otherwise of an argument or a concept. Okay, we need to look at this argument. Is it a valid argument? Yes or no? Okay, opinions and conclusions need to be presented clearly, and they need to be supported with appropriate evidence and a sound argument. So if we're looking right through here, we need to know that we're going to have to be giving our opinion on whether or not we believe that social division was the main condition that led to the emergence of these 2 authoritarian states. So what do we think? Okay, that's number 1. And then number 2, how do we back it up with arguments? We need to make sure we're using evidence to prove our point, and then we need to explain why that evidence actually matters and proves the point we are trying to make. So it's important to understand your command terms and make sure you're doing what the command terms are asking you to do. Then you should be following the Peel method, okay? The Peel method comes from this acronym right through here. You need to give a point, you need to give an explanation, you need to give an example, and then you need to link and show how these 2 things relate together. Now, it is highly, highly, highly recommended that you create a rough outline before you actually begin your writing. And when you're doing your rough outline, you should be following the Peel method. So for example, here's my first point. I'm going to be talking about Hitler's movies, okay? The Eternal Jew, for example, that movie. Here's my point, okay? The Eternal Jew is used to establish this hatred towards Jews in an authoritarian state, okay? My explanation here is why this isn't talking about. Okay, here's what happened. Here's what they were doing in this film. Here's how it was really exemplifying this hatred towards Jews and this propaganda right through here. An example, okay, here's what it actually is stating. In the film, it showed this with this information, and this is why this is important. Because of this is my link, we see that this relates to the main purpose of hatred towards the Jews, which was one of the major things that the Nazis were trying to do, blah, 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 blah. I've given a point, okay? I've given an explanation, I've given an example, and then I've focused on linking that example back to the main point. Everything you are writing needs to relate back to the main prompt. Okay, so on this question, we are talking about social division, not propaganda. I thought it was propaganda. What I just gave was for propaganda. We're talking about social division. Okay, so everything I'm giving, all my examples, need to relate back to social division. Now, in an outline, this can be very simple, just point, 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 bullet point. Then when you're writing, you just refer back to what you said, and then link it together. If it's a causation essay, so like what were the causes of this, this, and this, you need to give long-term reasons, you need to give short-term reasons, and then the individual triggers. what happened. If I'm talking about the causation of World War I, okay, long-term reason, extreme nationalism, imperialism going on in Europe, okay, short-term reason is going to be the conflict between Serbian nationalists, okay, in Serbia and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, triggers the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, okay? Make sure you're talking about those individual things right there. Going right through here. Most important reasons, you need to focus on the most important things. You need to talk about the other reasons, but really focus on the most important, and social, economic, and political. In history, your last ditch, you need to talk about economic, political, and social reasons. You're going to be good to go. Debate, you need to agree or disagree. You need to support it with evidence, and you need to make a judgment, okay? Comparative essays, you need to be doing this right here. Compare the two leaders. This one right here is going to be a comparative essay. Virtually all of them that you will be doing are going to have some form of comparison. You need to have points, okay? Similarities and differences, similarities and differences, similarities and differences, or you can give all the similarities, all the differences, and then end with some analysis, okay, and synthesis. Why is this important? Why does this matter? One thing that I would say is make sure you are following the tip-top method when you are writing paragraphs. Point 1, point 2, point 3 does not mean paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. It means the point you're talking about first, second point, and third point. Tip-top paragraphs mean you need to change the paragraph when you have a new time. Okay, so when the time changes, TI, you need to change a paragraph. When a person comes in, the P in tip, you need to change a paragraph. When the topic changes, TO, you need to change a paragraph, or when the place changes, you need to change a paragraph. So if I'm talking about Gamal Abdel Nasser, one of his similarities, okay, and then I'm talking about how it was similar to Hitler, that's going to be 2 paragraphs, even though I'm talking about the similarities. Again, points are not paragraphs. Make sure you understand the difference, okay? Lastly, you need to have no repetition. Get to the point. These essays are timed. You do not have time to be saying the same thing over and over and over again. Saying the same thing or a bit of evidence in a different way does not mean analysis, okay? Do not repeat yourself. Get to the point, state it, and go. You should have some time where you're organizing and planning before you actually write the essay, okay? As I've talked about, you need to do an outline. If you do not do an outline, you are going to struggle. Okay, your paper will be better if you spend some time to write an outline and then actually write. You're just following the outline, you're going to be good to go. Make sure you do an outline or you're going to struggle. Now, when it comes to the actual structure of the essay, you need to have an introduction. When you are giving an introduction, you need to show the reader that you actually understand what is being discussed. Define the terms. Okay, tell us what we are talking about. So if we're looking up at this individual essay, okay, we're talking about social division. You need to tell me what social division is. You need to tell me what an authoritarian state is. You need to tell me where we're talking about. These are the things that you need to be using in your introduction. You should use as many of the command terms as possible to show that you understand what is being talked about. Do not start with the time reference. Okay, don't just say, in this date, blah, 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 blah. Don't go from there. Indicate the scope of the essay. What are you talking about? You are specifically talking about social division in the authoritarian state of your 2 leaders, example, Nasser and Hitler. You need to set out a line of reason. You're not going to be saying, I am going to be discussing this, this, this. We know you're going to be discussing that. You're writing this, but you need to tell the reader what you are discussing. Okay, this is blah, blah, blah. We're talking about this, which is important because of this. Social division is important because in order to establish an authoritarian state, you need to have a common enemy. Social division helps you create and establish that common enemy. You need to provide a transition into the first paragraph so that it kind of logically makes sense. And you should use a thesis. Okay, follow the template for a thesis statement, something to something because of X, Y, and Z. You're going to be good to go if you follow that. Body paragraphs, again, it is not just 1, 2, 3. Break it up, follow in the tip-top method. You need to have a clear opening sentence that needs to link the key points together. Follow what you were using in your in your thesis statement. Okay, follow the Peel method that you've done on your outline. You're going to be in a better position if you do that. Give evidence that connects to the 2 different leaders, link them together, and then analysis. Analysis is the most important part of your essay. Giving evidence is good. It's not going to get you to that 15 you need on paper 2 for points. You need to give analysis, okay? Why did this happen? Why is it important? Why should I care? That sounds harsh, but that's really what you need to be looking at. Why do I care what you are saying? Everything you're stating, all of your evidence needs to relate back to the topic of that paragraph, and that topic of the paragraph needs to relate back to the topic of the essay. If it does not do that, and you cannot clearly see how it does it, you are going to struggle. You need to hit the reader over the head with analysis to the point that they could not possibly argue against what you are stating. Finally, you need to get to a conclusion. Okay, your conclusion: this is what I actually think. Here's why I actually think it. Be aware of different perspectives, of other ways people could look at this, and give counter arguments and then negate the counter argument. So it's almost style of a debate right through there. You're going to be good to go. Reference any historians that you possibly note. This person who's very important, okay, Ian Kershaw, for example, first historian's name that comes to my mind, he agrees with me because of this, this, and this. This we can see right through here. Those who do not support my conclusion, which someone who would state this, here's why this is wrong, but this is what they think. So just recognizing that there are other perspectives, restate the main point, okay? Come back to the main point because you always want to start off on one thing and come back around to that. Link back to the title to show that it actually answers the question. Again, using the command terms, okay? Identify any limitations. We could have discussed this, however, this is not something that was talked about. This is another issue that also played a role, however, it is not the main issue. So for example, propaganda played a large role, however, it's not the main issue. Relevance of the research, we came up with this, this, and this as we did the paper, blobbity bloop, blobbity bloop, blobbity bloop. And that is what you need to answer this individual question. Again, I will be putting the link to this information in the comment section down below, so you will have that. It's also linked on the website, larsonib.weebly.com. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Let me know. Shoot me an email. Otherwise, we'll be good to go. Good luck. See you later. Bye.